Hey, what's up guys, it's JKK Tag, and today we're back at it again with Giant Three Musketeers. You guys have seen this deck a lot. It is just so dang powerful. You overwhelm your opponent by getting a lot of Elixir Collectors on the map, and then you're able to split Three Musketeers and apply opposite lane aggression with the Giant and the Battle Ram on opposite sides. This deck is just super solid because there's a finite amount of spells in every deck, and this deck ends up having Minion Horde, Bats, Goblin Gang, Three Musketeers, and also the Elixir Collector. So you literally have 5 cards in this deck that are bait, and no one has 5 spells. So let's go jump straight into some GCs and let's assert some dominance. All right, we got a game against FaZe up. We're going to be saucing out of good luck here, and I'm going to go for Bats in the back just this cycle. We'll see what he elects to do here. He's going to go for a Hog Rider, so I want to go Goblin Gang. We still have the Bats, so if he logs, I mean, the Bats will stay alive. We're going for a Battle Ram right in front. We're going to be hovering Zap. We have to cycle one more card to get back to our Collector, so I want to cycle something. Doesn't really look like I'm going to get value with my Zap, so I'm not going to. If he drops Skeletons or something, I will. Doesn't look like he will, though. So now I'm in a situation where seeing probably a 2.9 Hog Rider deck, and I would love for him to Fireball the Three Musketeers so I get a free Collector that he's not going to have a spell for. So hopefully he Fireballs the healthier tower, which he does, and then I am just going to let these Muskies go. I'm not going to drop a Giant in front. It would just be a bad situation for me because he would be able to just like Ice Spirit after and Cannon, and it would be a negative Elixir trade for me actually. So I really want that Ice Golem to die, and the Ice Golem is not going to be in front of the Hog Rider, which is pivotal for us. As long as the Ice Golem or Ice Spirits are not along with the Hog Rider, then he can't kill the Bats. He can pre-log and kill the Goblin Gang, but he was never able to kill the Bats. So that's always really good for me. He ends up going for a Fireball there, so that's a huge aggression. Can easily go in for a Giant here. Then I'm going to look to go in for a Battle Ram in the back, and then I want to go in for Three Musketeers up top. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm trying to do dual lane aggression and Three Musketeers because he doesn't have Fireball in cycle, and I really want to make sure that this push is going to be as slow as possible. So I go for the Giant, the slowest moving unit that I have, then Battle Ram in the back to follow through, and then I want to go in for the Three Musketeers here. And he's going to go for Skeletons and Ice Spirit, so maybe the Three Muskies stay there for a little bit of time, but he's not able to Fireball because he's not back. And then he Fireballs the Two Musketeers, and wow, the Battle Ram is, well, the Barbarians are still tanking, and this is really good. We're back to another Collector, and his log is out of cycle, so when he goes in for a Hog Rider, the Hog Rider is going to get met by a Cordial Goblin Gang that just devours it with no care for the Hog Rider in sight, man. He's going to go in for Skeletons, so he gets 1 hit, but he does not get 2, which is really good again. I'm going to go in for another Giant. Baiting out the log was pivotal for us to win this game if I do win it. I go in for another Battle Ram. I want to go in for Bats. I really want that Ice Spirit to connect with something besides the Bats. Oh man, this is going to be a little bit sketchy. He ends up coming through and getting some value here. I'm going to go in for Musketeers. I'm getting 2 towards the Battle Ram, and then I also want to end up going for Minion Horde in the middle after the Fireball comes through. I want to tank for those Musketeers as soon as possible. I also want to go in for another Giant. I need to spam here. I need to make something happen. This is coming down to the wire. And I think that the Giant is actually going to give us a lot of value. The Musketeer is on the tower. And if I zap the Skeletons that he might drop on top, I think the Muskie does take it. And we do end up taking the tower. So I preemptively zapped, knowing that if he dropped Skeletons or Ice Spirit or something, he would have been able to stop our Musketeer from taking the tower. But I just did the zap as a cautionary maneuver. And we did end up taking the tower as a result. GG, well played, and peace out, man. All right, so I'm going to end up going and cycling Bats first, because if I cycle my Goblin Gang, then I don't have any way of stopping any type of miner. So if he miners, I want to have ground defense. I'm going to go in for the Collector in the middle because if he has a miner or graveyard, which are pretty prevalent, I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm going to go for a Giant in the middle. I want the Giant to take the mortar hit. I don't want my towers to be hit at all. And he might actually have a, yeah, he might be having, no, yes, Hog Rider. I was hoping that he would have a miner because I had Goblin Gang in cycle. I was hoping he would go for the miner, but he didn't do it. Since I'm going for the Goblin Gang, I don't want to zap that. That would be an overcommitment. With this matchup, you really need to save your zap, because if they have Minion Horde, it is really, really tough for you to ever get a Minion Horde through if you don't zap theirs. Knowing that he has Hog Rider, I will actually accommodate that and drop my Goblin Gang, I don't know, a little bit more frivolously, and I won't have to save it every single time. Another thing is I don't actually want to be dropping my Collectors in the middle anymore, because we have found out he has Hog Rider, and he also has Mortar. He has no way of combating us. I'm going to go Zap here, and we're going to get more value here. We bait out the Zap of his. Now he has no way of stifling or stopping our Minion Horde. If he goes in for a Hog Rider, it's just going to die. So, yeah, I'm not going to go in for a Goblin Gang because it might get pre-logged. I'm going to go for Minion Horde instead. And he doesn't have Zap in cycle, so there's no way for him to break through this. So I'm fine with that. He's going to zap it now because he's back to it. Oh, he's going to Goblin Gang instead. Okay. We'll see what he elects to do. If he goes in for a Mortar, I can go for a Giant. Otherwise, I just want to go for Battle Ram here. I don't want to go in for a Giant because then he could go in for a Mortar and get a lock on. Oh, he's going to go for Rascals. Okay. So I don't really know what he's got here. I'm just going to go for 3M because that's one of the best ways of killing the Rascals and then getting Counter Push. Rascals will not give him any utility now. I'm going to go for a Giant in front of the 1 Musketeer. And I am going to be waiting. I'm going to be relaxing a little bit. I'm going to zap that. Get rid of those Spear Goblins. So then our Musketeer actually hits things that are useful. He used his log. So now I can use my Goblin Gang whenever I want. I want to cycle my Goblin Gang here. I want to go for Elixir Collector in the back. I'm going for the Goblin Gang on the lane that I want to protect. I don't care about the other lane at all. And we're just going to wait, relax, and see what he wants to do. He's going to go for a Hog Rider right into 3 Musketeers. So that's pivotal for us. He actually goes in for a pre-log, expecting units that were baity, but we're not out here dropping bait units, dude. We're dropping the 3 Musketeers. Out of sight, out of mind. We did that prediction, that knowing that he would probably try to go in for a Hog Rider and then use a Zap or a log. I wasn't expecting just a pre-log. I was expecting a Hog Rider plus him just trying to do something else. And yeah, it was good for us. I'm going to go in for a Goblin Gang because we baited out a log, and it's all about really baiting out your opponent's spells. If they end up doing the wrong thing, they end up losing the game. So we end up going for a Zap there, and guess what? We get value. We get that last Goblin hit as a result. So GG, well played, and peace out, Girl Scout. Those last Zaps have been clutch in finishing off games for us. Feels really good, man. All right, we're going to go Goblin Gang here to kill those Spear Goblins and get counter push potential. We're going to see what he wants to do. So we see Spear Goblins and Giant. I want to go for 3 Musketeers here. 3 Musketeers will kill a Giant and give me counter push potential. So that's what I'm looking for. Don't know if he's going to have the Graveyard deck. Yeah, he's going to have Graveyard. So I'm going to go Bats right on top of the Giant. I'm going to save my Zap. Wait for more Skeletons to accumulate and then Zap. We should have defended that really well. So if I went in for any type of bait on top of my 3 Musketeers, he could have already have casted like arrows or a protection spell. I didn't really want to deal with that. The Skarmy comes down, and it looks like I'm going to be in a situation where I can go for a Collector here. And I want to do that early on because he's already used this Graveyard. He's already used this Giant. He can't really apply aggression. He's going to have small spells that he could use to cast on top of this. And I don't care about that. I'm going to let those Spear Goblins just roll unless he goes in for a Giant. And he does. I hope he doesn't have arrows with this, but he most likely will. I'm going to go for a Minion Horde. I want to kill that. And I also want to end up going for a Goblin Gang that's shallower. He's probably going to arrow all this. I would assume he's going to arrow all this. Does he not have Elixir to arrow all this? There's arrows. Okay. I was kind of expecting that. Now I'm going to go for Battle Ram, and I have enough Elixir for a Zap. He's going to Scar me. Scar me. Scar me. Okay. Really was waiting for that. Was hovering. I knew his deck, so I just didn't want to make any misplays there. It's super, super important when you see Giant plus arrows or Giant plus Zap. It's going to be the spammy Graveyard deck, and you just have to hold down the fort, boys. In this situation, I just want to go for 3 Musketeers. If I go in for a Collector, I'm opening myself up to a potential Giant play. If I drop 3 Musketeers, I have map presence, and he can't really reliably break through this easily. So I want to go in for a Giant here, and he's going to have to spend like Scar me or something here. I want to go for a Goblin Gang as soon as possible, so then we devour the Giant, so then he doesn't have a tank for his Graveyard. He goes in for arrows early, and that means that I have a free Minion Horde here. The Musketeer is still alive, so I want to make the most of it. And I actually want to end up going in for a Minion Horde on top of the Skeleton, so then I can probably just go in for a Battle Ram because he's not going to be back to a arrows. And then I want to get through. He's going to actually go for a Zap, and I'm going to Zap as well. We're going to get that Battle Ram through, forcing out another Skarmy, and we're in a situation where he's not able to play super aggressive, so I want to go in for a 3 Musketeers push, and then I want to go in for a Goblin Gang as soon as possible. So basically what I was trying to do, I was trying to force out as many units as possible so then I could go for 3 Musketeers, kill everything, and make him not have enough Elixir for his spam, whatever the heck you want to call it with Giant, because this is not a real deck, but it is a deck that I recognize that's very common at ladder. So yeah, I just didn't want to play against this, and I realized that he doesn't have freeze, so I'm just hovering, waiting for the Zap just to run down the clock and make sure that he doesn't get a substantial Graveyard. All right, we're going to go Goblin Gang here. He's going to go in for Spear Goblins. We're going to get a nice counter push yet again, so we'll see what he does to this. He's going to go for a Giant, so I want to go opposite lane with Battle Ram and Bats. Maybe we can bait out a Zap, and then we'll be able to have Minion Horde. So that's awesome. We bait out Goblin Gang and a Zap. This is prime for us. I do not want to go in for a Zap on offense because it doesn't give me any utility. It doesn't kill anything that I really want. It's going to kill the Goblin Gang, but think about it. What is it going to do for me? He's actually going to go in for a huge push of Graveyard plus Bats plus Giant, I didn't want to go in for Three Musketeers even close to those bats because the bats would get on top of the Three Musketeers. I want to have a huge counter push here. That's why I dropped the Three Musketeers all in one lane, and I'm just focusing on the counter push potential, guys. So I'm going to go in for a Giant right in front, and if he drops a Fireball, he's not going to have much elixir. He won't be able to zap as well, so we'll see what he does. He's going to go for a Barb Barrel, then I can go for a Goblin Gang. He's actually going to have Skarmy, so he might be able to make this out alive. This is really unfortunate that he had those cards. That's probably one of the worst possible sequences for me. Just him having the Barb Barrel is really, really bad. This is a complete hard counter. Hopefully we can win this, but this is looking pretty dire. That was the best possible case scenario, him overcommitting with Giant Graveyard and having a lot of spells, but I don't know. Like, him using his spells and using his deck in that way, that was the best possible case scenario, but it's still really horrible for us. I have to go for Three Musketeers all in one lane to defend this Giant push again, and hopefully he overcommits again, but we'll see. So when you see a Giant deck like this, they never have Fireball, so that's why I'm going for 3M all in one lane. It's really the only way that I can ever accomplish anything. I'm going to go in for a Zap, and then I want to go for Bats right on top of the Giant. I think we probably lose this because the Skarmy, or not the Skarmy, but the Graveyard is just going to completely envelop our tower. I'm not sure, though. We do end up defending a little bit, and he still ends up taking the tower. So yeah, this is just a bad matchup, guys. So I won it once, but I don't think I can win it multiple times. It's just really, really bad. I'm going to have to go in for Three Musketeers again. And at least I showed how to like play against it. You have to go for 3M all in one lane. I guess my 3M got caught up by the skeletons. Him having Barb Barrel is way more difficult than usual. I don't know, man. I'm going to have to go for Battle Ram plus Bats here. He's going to end up going for a Barb Barrel, and I want to kill it with a Goblin Gang. I also want... Should have zapped the Skarmy. I don't think it's going to matter, guys. This is just a fat L. Maybe if I kept the Three Musketeers alive and zapped the Skarmy at the very, very end there, I could have won, but... This is just a really, really tragic matchup, and I got it so many times in a row. This one's a little bit more tough because he ends up having Barb Barrel. Peace out, Girl Scout. So he's going to go in for a Prince. I want to go in for Battle Ram to go pull that. We'll see what's up. See what he's rocking. And I probably just want to go Cycle Bats here. Cycling Bats is the best play. It's least consequence. Just cycling that in the back, getting it back to a collector. Really good for us. Here we go. He's going to go for Wizard. Really aggressive Wizard. Okay, so this is bad. Oh, no. I have to go in for a Giant. I have to pull everything. Unfortunately, the Wizard will lock onto my tower, but I can't really drop Swarm units on it, you know? Have to wait for that to connect. He's got Fireball as well. So I guess it's really weird playing against some of these decks that have Wizard, Fireball, and a lot of, like, Swarm killers, you know? You have to really maneuver around them well. So hopefully we can win this game. He used his Fireball, so he doesn't have that in Cycle. I want to go for Three Musketeers in the back and try to make some type of aggression here. So Three Musketeers, he doesn't have Fireball. He has to cycle 4 more cards for that. He has Wizard in Cycle, so I don't really want to go in for a Minion Horde at all. I don't really want to support either side with a Minion Horde. Skarmy was interesting. I'm still going to go for Battle Ram in front. The reason being is I want to have enough Elixir for the Zap. And if I didn't drop the Battle Ram immediately, I wasn't going to get to it in time to drop it in front of the Musketeer, so that's why I dropped it before zapping there. He actually went in for a zap and got the Prince through. Oh my gosh, that Prince is literally taking my entire tower. Oh, that really hurts that he has zap in this deck as well. Yikes, man. Well played, I guess. Some of these like really weird or like borderline like newbie-esque decks are really scary, man. I'm going to go for a Giant here. Mini P.E.K.K.A. Wizard. Yikes. I actually have to go for a Goblin Gang to surround that. Then I kind of want to go for Battle Ram to make sure that the Giant is not targeted, because if the Giant's targeted by the Wizard, then I lose my tower. So that was also really scary there, but we did pull out ahead. I'm going to go for Bats. And it looks like we're in a decent situation on the right and left-hand tower because he doesn't actually end up having Wizard, and I think that those minions do get hits, and that puts it in zap range if not taking it out. Awesome. The Bats are going to be just accomplishing their goal, doing work, putting in mad work. I want to go in for a Goblin Gang surround on top of the Wizard, and the Fireball comes down, but the Goblin Gang is actually going to make sure that the Prince does not devour us. That worked out really, really well, guys. I had to make a lot of micro interactions work out in my favor to avoid that Wizard just wrecking my hopes, dreams, and aspirations in life. Go for another sequence of Bats, and then I can go for Battle Ram here. We're not going to get the 3 crown, but we also did pretty well, so, you know, I'm going to take it. He will take a tower, but we're not going to get the 3 crown, unfortunately. GG, well played, and peace out, Girl Scout. Pleasure playing against you, Matt.